Am I the a-hole for saying no when my family said I should let my sister have her honeymoon at my house? Backstory. My house used to belong to my parents, but they sold it to me in 2017. It had been a family vacation home of sorts. Every couple of years when my grandparents were alive, they'd invite us kids up there for a week. Fast forward to the end of 2016, my sister got accepted to her dream college. Won't say which, but it's a big one. Everyone was excited and proud of her. Me too. But a week after that, my parents called asking if I'd found a house yet. I was looking for one and my family knew it. I've been saving up since I started my first job at 20. I said no, so my dad suggested I buy the lake house from them. I asked why they wanted to sell it. Turns out sister didn't have any savings for college, didn't get some scholarship like she'd planned, and our parents couldn't afford to pay for everything either. I asked why she didn't get student loans, and they said they didn't want her ruining her credit. So their solution was to sell the lake house and use the money from that to finance her college. I had lots of good memories from the lake house, so eventually I agreed. I work via computers, so after getting a good internet connection out there, moved right in and been there since. My significant other moved in permanently last year before lockdown, and it's been pretty blissful. 2019. My sister and her college boyfriend got engaged. Parents agreed to pay for her wedding, but like with every other wedding around then, things got set back. Sister had to postpone her wedding until this year, and she plans to have it in December. I even agreed to be in the bridal party. Issues came up recently when my sister asked where I was going to stay for the 2 weeks after her wedding. Puzzled, I answered, my house? She got a sour look and said that wouldn't work. Her and fiancé would be there and they wanted private time. I asked why they'd be at my house, and she said that's where they were having their honeymoon. 2 weeks alone at a lake house. I said that was news to me, and she insisted our parents said it was fine, but I said it wasn't their place to make decisions about my house. After arguing, she called our parents who said I was being unreasonable. I said I didn't want my sister and her fiancé christening their new union by being intimate in my house. They said I was being gross and selfish. I said no again, so sister threatened to remove me from the bridal party. I just shrugged and said okay. She starts crying, saying she already couldn't have her dream wedding like she wanted, and now I was trying to ruin her honeymoon too. I told her to rent a hotel room like every other newlywed couple, then hung up. She's not speaking to me, and I'm uninvited to the wedding. Our parents keep calling me and saying I should do this for her since her wedding's only 1/3 what she wanted it to be, but I'm not comfortable with them staying unsupervised at my house. They're making me feel like a monster for saying no. Am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments. I don't know if it's just me, but the favoritism is shining brighter than the sun. Not the a-hole. Your sister is crazy for expecting that before even conforming with you. It's definitely not you. I could see the favoritism shining from a mile away. Very easy to see who the golden child is here. OP not the a-hole. It's your home, so your parents and sister have absolutely no say whatsoever who can and can't stay there without consulting the person who owns the property. They sold it to you, so it's no longer the family holiday / lake house. It's your house. They don't get to take the money from the sale and still dictate who can and can't use it. That's not how selling a house works. Period. Not the a-hole. They don't have money to cover for her education to the point of selling a house, but they do for her wedding? She doesn't get to guilt you for already not having her dream wedding because she chose to get married at a time in which she still depends on her parents. What she needs is a reality check, not a wedding. Until your parents stop treating her like their little princess, she's gonna be a lost cause, which you don't have to take any responsibility for. I actually worry about this a lot. I wonder how she's going to survive after our parents pass away because they're not young anymore. They're getting old, and once they're gone, I'm not taking their place to cuddle her. My family said I should let my sister have her honeymoon at my house. I'm sorry, what now? Look, it's your house now. It's been your home for 4 years. Not only do your parents have no business giving anyone permission to stay at your home, what the heck was your sister thinking that you just moved out of your home for 2 weeks? Which would also mean you're paying money for their honeymoon. Not just because you would need a hotel, but also because you're the one paying for the utilities. And while it was rather crass to explicitly say what they would be doing in your house, it is accurate and reasonable to object to them staying at your house. She's not speaking to me and I'm uninvited to the wedding. So, not only entitled, but incredibly petty and vindictive. Our parents keep calling me and saying I should do this for her since her wedding is only 1/3 what she wanted it to be. That's unfortunate for her, but that doesn't make it okay to demand others give her anything because of it. It certainly doesn't make it okay to demand someone give up their home for 2 weeks. Not today, Hall. Yeah, if she wanted to visit with her fiancé, then I could handle that. I'd still be skeeved out that they'd more than likely be bumping uglies out of earshot of me and my significant other. But I would have handled that better than her basically asking me to leave for 2 weeks for her. Little update. Well, learned something new today. I spoke to my sister, like a few people suggested, and asked her if she knew the lake house was legally my house. As in, I bought it years ago. She was not, in fact, aware of this. She was under the impression from our parents that they were letting me live there rent-free. I corrected her and even showed her proof that they sold the house to me. And when she asked why they sold it, I was honest and said it was to pay for her college tuition/lifestyle. She became quiet after that and we soon hung up. No idea what's going to happen now. Next story is titled, Am I the a-hole for kicking my wife's brother out of my wedding? To start, I just want to mention that my brother-in-law Dennis, male 24 and I male 28, don't see eye to eye with each other because we're both very different individuals. He's a bit arrogant and doesn't like to spend time with family. My wife tried to have us spend more time together, but me and Dennis just don't get along. Simple as that. My in-laws are his providers, and they also raise hell on whoever tries to disrespect him. They love me as well, so that's nice. At least I thought. Anyway, so when I visited Dennis to personally hand him my wedding invitation, he told me he may not be attending because he planned to go fishing that day. I couldn't tell if it was a joke, but I didn't care, although this is his sister's wedding. At my wedding, I thought Dennis wasn't coming, and his dad said he's gone fishing. My wife was upset until he showed up, but I wasn't happy. I was mad when I saw that he showed up in t-shirt and shorts, sunglasses and flip-flops. I flipped the hell out and asked what the hell he was wearing. He said it perfectly matches the weather, and complained that it's hot and we could have just picked an indoor venue with air conditioning instead. The guests were staring. Dennis said he didn't give a damn. I pulled him aside and demanded he go change if he still wanted to be at the wedding. My father-in-law gave the leave him alone look, and my wife was shocked. But I certainly told him he needed to have some respect and not wear freaking flip-flops at my wedding. He left and came back in 40 minutes wearing a tuxedo very, very similar to mine with the same bow tie and same everything. My best man was the first to see. He was shocked and told me we had a problem. I had it. I immediately walked up to him to stop him from being seen by the guests. Asked him if he was crazy and yelled at him to leave. My in-laws got involved and told me to back off. This event isn't mine alone, therefore I have no right to kick their son out for following the rules, and accused me of intentionally excluding him from his sister's wedding. He told his parents to not bother with me, shouting, "He's jealous," in front of my family. I kicked him out and told my in-laws they were next if they tried to bring him back. My in-laws were livid and kept berating me for hours, demanding I apologize for making Dennis miss his only sister's wedding. We haven't talked in a week, and my wife says Dennis and I are both a-holes. Was I the a-hole? Everyone sucks here, except your wife. But you most of all. You. Nowhere in this do I see your wife's opinion, except until after the facts. You don't kick out your partner's sibling without their opinion, period. Also, personally, I don't give a damn what people would be wearing to my wedding as long as my loved ones are there. You sound like appearances are more important than people to you. P.S. You don't have to like the guy, but he's your wife's family. You need to learn to deal with him. Dennis, his a-hole for showing up without confirmation. And I'm guessing the whole tuxedo thing was him making a statement he should have not been making at someone else's wedding. Though his behavior was totally provoked by you, at least in part. The in-laws, a-hole for berating you at your own wedding. All of you, not taking into account what the bride actually wanted, and being self-centered a-holes on her wedding day. Honestly, if I was your wife, I'd have left my own wedding and left you sorry a-holes to fight it out. The lot of you. I have to disagree. Opie is not an a-hole. His brother-in-law purposely wore the outfit he did as an act of disrespect. He wore clothes that specifically said, "This wedding is an afterthought." The brother-in-law was purposely trying to provoke Opie. He was not provoked by Opie. Everyone sucks here. You fell right into his trap. He wanted to make you look like the a-hole. He knew what he was doing. He's a pile of toxic goo parading around as a man. I'm sorry he's your brother-in-law. And if you think this is the last time he will pull crap like this, you're mistaken. Not a a-hole. And why was it your wife is pissed, or more, as you were at her brother's behavior? Exactly. If the roles were reversed and the groom's sister showed up in a wedding dress, everyone would be singing a different tune, saying she isn't the a-hole for kicking the sister out, but because Opie is a man and the wedding isn't about him. Now for the next story. Am I the a-hole for taking my sister on my honeymoon instead of leaving her with my parents? My 36 female baby sister 12 female has autism, sensory processing disorder, ADHD, and multiple chronic physical illnesses. She started getting diagnosed with everything when she was almost 5. After a year, my parents decided they couldn't deal with her and asked me and my then boyfriend, now fiancé 38 male, to adopt her. My fiancé and I are getting married at the end of next month and we'll be going to Hawaii for a week for our honeymoon. We've had a hard time finding someone to take care of her, and we asked my fiancé's parents to take her. They said no, but offered to pay for her to come on our honeymoon and any extra childcare costs and accommodations that she would need. We thought about it for a while and decided to take her. She's so excited for the trip, and the hotel has an amazing daycare that she can go to when my fiancé and I need some time away from her. My parents came over last weekend, and the first thing my sister told them was that she's coming to Hawaii with us. My parents asked why, and I said we couldn't find anyone to take care of her because of how complex her needs are, so we decided to take her with us. They offered to take her for the week, but we declined because 1. They love spending time with her, then get tired of her after around an hour. 2. They ignore her sensory issues. 3. They admit they are not capable of taking care of her. I told them why we declined, and my mom started yelling at me for making them out to be bad parents. They also refused to admit that we're her parents and hates when she calls them grandma and grandpa. They are not speaking to us and are threatening to not come to the wedding. So I wanted to know if I was the a-hole. Now for the comments. Not the a-hole. Your parents were so incapable of caring for your sister that you had to adopt her. You can't trust your parents to care for your sister unsupervised for any length of time. Also, you should invite them from your wedding. They are toxic. They also refuse to admit that we're her parents and hates when she calls them grandma and grandpa. Guess they should have been actual parents and not have their adult daughter adopt her then. Can't have your cake and eat it too. Not the a-hole. They are bad parents, or they would be if they were raising her. Frankly, if they don't come to your wedding, they're showing that their fantasy world is more important than you or your sister. Yeah. Being manipulative and trying to guilt Opie by threatening not to go to the wedding after giving up their own child to Opie does make them bad parents. Not the a-hole. I actually think that's really sweet to bring her along. It's a shame you're not able to find suitable care to leave her with and have the honeymoon all to yourselves. But it's awesome that you're willing to take her with you rather than leave her with someone who cannot cope with her needs. And at least with the daycare, you'll get some alone time together, and she'll still be able to be with you two and have a good holiday whilst getting appropriate care when in their daycare. Her nanny can take care of her overnight. She just wasn't available the week of the honeymoon, so we'll go away for a weekend without her soon. Last story is titled, Am I the a-hole for not paying for college? I'll preface this by saying that I, 33 male, am a widower. My wife Lee died 3 years ago due to hemorrhaging after giving birth to our twins, Dan and Sam. We had older sons 6 years ago and married shortly after college. I've been successful in my career, as was my wife. So I guess one might call us upper middle class? After Lee died, my sister moved in. My wife and I agreed she could stay with us during college 3 months before twins were born. My sister was 19 at the time, and her university was less than a mile from our home. Although I am still thankful to this day, sister helped me hire a nanny, a housekeeper, and would even watch the twins and my son on occasion. Wife had worked remotely, so we never needed them before and split the cooking and housework 50-50. Except the yard, I have horrible allergies, so I pay for service. I had the money, and to show my appreciation, I paid for tuition and fees. Fast forward, it's 3 years later. Sister will graduate summa cum laude and has several job offers. I'm very proud of her. She's helped me on weekends when I was forced to go out of town and watch the children. Nanny and housekeeper only work Monday to Friday. I don't think I need a nanny or housekeeper when I'm there to take care of the children or cook/clean up. Problem? My brother-in-law, 23 male, is demanding that I pay his tuition/housing/etc. He says he deserves it because it is what his sister would have wanted. He doesn't live with me, nor has he ever helped me with his nephews and niece. He just expects it. I've gotten several awkward phone calls from my wife's family because he is telling everyone that I am paying. Am I the a-hole if I say no? Not the a-hole. Your sister was providing a service in exchange for education, as in bartering. Your brother-in-law has nothing to barter with. I am curious as to how he knows about your financial arrangement with your sister though, since finances are nobody else's business. Besides, you have to save up for your children's college now anyways. Why would you be a a-hole when all your brother-in-law have done to you and your families ask for money? You've given money to your sister because you got something in return, which would else be given to someone else to do the things for you. If your wife was alive, maybe you two would have helped him even if he didn't do anything. But your income is half than it would be, and you would still have to spend money on you and your children. The alternative to you paying your sister is not giving him money, it's giving someone else money, not a a-hole. I saw this and wanted to reply. I never asked my sister to watch the children. She volunteered. I asked her about it a few minutes ago because it made me worried that I made her feel compelled to watch them/help me after my wife died. Sister says, "Because you're my brother, you doofus." Her words verbatim. I paid off her schooling to show my appreciation for her sacrifices these last 3 years. Wow, it will be 4 years in November. I guess when I paid off sister's schooling debt, she'd told our parents, who are still good friends with Lee's parents. I've decided not to pay for brother-in-law's schooling. I know my wife would have at least given him a gift or something, so I think a microwave and mini fridge and maybe a new printer will be the extent of my contribution to his education. I saw the bit about paying someone else's tuition wouldn't be any different. I think a memorial scholarship at her alma mater might be something I discuss with my financial advisor. Thanks.
My fiancé has been lying for months. I need real advice, please. Original post. So, I, 29 male, met my now fiancé, 26 female, about 3 years ago through mutual friends of ours. She was very innocent, didn't drink much, didn't smoke, never did drugs. We had a really good relationship and everything was going great, hence why I asked her to marry me. We moved in together around the same time too. She has a daughter, 7, that lives with us too. Anyway, around 6 months ago, my fiancé started going out drinking with her friends often, which is totally fine. I always offered to pick her up if she was stuck too. However, it became more and more often, from once every 2 months to every single weekend without fail. Then she started staying out overnight, but she always told me where she was and was always back around 9 a.m. I started to worry because this just wasn't usual behavior for her. Even though she told me where she was, it was very unusual for her to act like this. So, cut forward to maybe 3 months after the first time she stayed out all night, she goes out with her friends, and again stays out all night. This time though, she didn't come home in the morning, and there was also no contact from her at all. So naturally, I contacted her friend Pam via phone, who she was out with. They said, we left her at the bar with her friend Luke, 26 male, who I had never heard of before. This guy had never been mentioned. My fiancé was the type of girl to never be around another guy. I didn't know this guy's full name, so I couldn't contact him. Her friend who I was on the phone with also said, I have something else to tell you too. Your fiancé has also been doing drugs for a while. We left her with the guy who she buys it off. I'm sorry. So my head started spinning. I was worried about where she was, but also what she was doing. Again, this was a girl that would never ever be near another guy and never do drugs, so I was perplexed. About 12 noon, after I had exhausted all my options contacting all of her friends and family to ask if they had seen her, all saying they had not, I started to get really worried. Maybe rashly, I contacted the police to report her missing. At this point, I was on the verge of tears as I thought she could be dead. It may have been irrational, but I was genuinely worried. Once I had officially reported her missing, I then had to contact her parents and tell them the same thing. She didn't come home, I cannot contact her, etc. They were wailing down the phone, crying and screaming. Another 3 hours passed, her mom constantly ringing for updates when my fiancé decided it was time to come home. She walked through the door, and I was relieved but also furious. I walked over to her, gave her a hug, but demanded to know where she had been. I felt like I deserved to know. She told me I stayed at Pam's house, the friend of hers I had spoken to hours before. I knew this wasn't true as I had had a conversation with Pam, so I told my fiancé, I know you are lying. She said, I swear down on my daughter's life that is the truth. I said again, I know you are lying as I have spoken to Pam, and she has confirmed that she left you in the bar. I asked, who were you with when Pam left you? She said, I was alone. I promise, I was alone. Again I said, I know this is a lie. You were with Luke. Who is he to you? She said, how do you know? I said, Pam told me. Anyway, I won't go into specifics of the whole conversation, but she continued to lie. She said she was only with Luke for 20 minutes. Then it was an hour. Then it was, I don't know how long. She eventually told me that she stayed at her friend Laura's house. I said, is that the actual truth? She said, I promise that is the truth. So, being the silly man I am, I believed her. I also asked her about the drugs. She lied, said she had only done them twice, and she regretted it both times. I knew this wasn't true due to my conversation with Pam. She still, to this day, tells me it's just twice, but the fact her friends rang me and told me that she is always doing drugs leads me to believe that only doing them twice isn't true. Anyway, cut to 2 weeks ago, we were out with her friends. I had a few too many drinks, and I asked her friends, where did my fiancé stay that night? I asked 3 of her friends, and all 3 of them told me a different story. Not one of them told me the same story she told me. So I brought it up to my fiancé, probably the wrong time to do it when I was drunk. I said, I asked all of your friends where you stayed that night. All of them told me a different version of events. What is the truth? One of her friends, Rose, said she stayed at her house. Another friend, Tina, said she stayed at Luke's, the guy's house. And the third friend said she stayed in her mom's shed. So I questioned her on it. I said, are any of these stories true? She said, yes, one of them is. I asked which one, and she said she stayed in her mom's shed. Now personally, I said, I don't believe her. I asked why she would need to lie about where she stayed if she stayed in her mom's shed. She said, I didn't want to disappoint you. She said she thinks she was spiked and couldn't remember where she lived, but could remember her mom's address. This is the story she has stuck with. She stayed in her mom's shed, she had only done drugs twice, and she was only with Luke for a bit but didn't stay at his house. So now, on Monday of this week, she said she is going out with her friends on Saturday. Naturally, I am worried about this. After everything that has happened, I am worried. But I said, no problem. Go out. Enjoy yourself. Inside, I don't really want her to go out, but I am not here to control her and tell her she can't go out. I just asked her respectfully, after everything that has happened, if she could please come home after her night out. I feel like this isn't a big ask, as my thought is, you would want to come home to your fiancé. She tried to tell me, from her point of view, that if she stays at her friend's house and tells me, it isn't a big deal, as she is telling me where she is. I tried to explain to her that, after everything, I have some trust issues. She just laughed at me, laughed directly in my face. She said she understands that I have trust issues, but said if she is having a good time with her friends, she doesn't want to come home just because I want her to be at home. She isn't going to ruin her night out because I want her home. I felt a lot like my feelings are invalid because she wants to have fun with her friends, and I would be getting in the way of that. I am not a controlling person. I don't have access to her phone. I don't know her code for it either. I have never looked through her phone, but since this has all happened, she is ultra protective of her phone, which she never was. She is always on it, texting or messaging 24/7. The phone does not leave her side. She even puts it under her pillow when she sleeps at night to keep it protected. Also, she deletes messages on her phone often too. I have seen her do it. She says it's part of her OCD, which I understand, but she is constantly deleting messages. I am not sure if I have just noticed it more because there is a lack of trust, but it feels like she is deleting messages constantly, multiple times a day. She will send a text, then immediately delete the text chain. It gives the impression that she is hiding something, even if that isn't her intention. In her words, she didn't lie about doing drugs. She evaded the truth. We had a conversation the day after she had done them, before I knew she was taking them. I said I would never do drugs again. I did them when I was a teenager. It doesn't appeal to me. And she said, I would never do them either. Just the day before, though, she was doing them, so her thought on it is she didn't lie. As I didn't directly ask her if she had done them, she just evaded the truth. So, my questions are, is it okay to not trust my fiancé? Is it normal to want her to come home after a night out? Is it wrong to not want her to lie about where she has been and who she has been with? Lastly, is it okay to feel uncomfortable that she is constantly on her phone, texting, messaging 24/7, and deleting all her messages? What should I do? My brain is telling me to leave the relationship, as it is so toxic. The lying, the deception, and the clear lack of respect for my feelings. My heart is telling me to stay with her. In all honesty, I love her. I love her daughter too. I see her as my own daughter and protect her as if she was my own too. Any advice, guidance, anything at all, please help me. Now for the top advice before reading the update. You don't trust her because she's not trustworthy. I'm sorry, but she's not the person you thought she was. Her behavior is absolutely unacceptable, and her lying ought to be a deal breaker. I know you love her, but you owe it to yourself to break things off with her. This is not the kind of woman you want to build a life with. Go back and reread your story, but pretend it's your brother or best friend telling it to you. What would you tell him to do? Deep down, you know the right answer here. The person you love doesn't exist. She's a fiction made up by the stranger you're looking at. Get some distance, social, physical, and emotional. Give yourself some space to find your footing. You say you're not a controlling person. That's great. None of us should try to control someone else, but you do control yourself. You need to get out of there now. Talk to your friends or family right now. It will get more painful if you put it off. Been there. Don't move ahead with wedding plans until you've resolved this. Don't risk getting her pregnant. If she pressures you, remember her lies and know that she's manipulating you. She doesn't respect you. I don't see how someone like her ever could. She's banging her drug dealer. Unless you're into that, leave. And he needs to get tested ASAP. Hey OP, my question to you is, do you want to be engaged to someone who is currently prioritizing partying over you or her daughter? Where is her daughter when she's out? Are you looking after the child? Ultimately, your fiancé is not being a responsible parent, and I'm guessing your initial assessment of her being innocent is incorrect. Unless she's randomly started hanging out with new friends, it's unlikely she's just decided to cut loose now. It also doesn't sound like you guys are spending time alone to date. Even if you decide to believe she isn't cheating on you, is this what you want in a relationship? If I'm getting the timeline right, it sounds like she started partying after you were engaged. Now for the little update. I have read through lots of comments, and some of them has made me think a lot. No, I don't want to be engaged to someone who goes out every weekend. Her daughter is with me when she is out partying. Yeah, I am seeing more and more that she is not the innocent fun girl I originally met. I am really genuinely not convinced she is cheating, even with all these comments saying she is. I do not want someone who is always going out, always lying, not even wanting to come home. You guys are right. Just a few months into the engagement, she started partying more and more frequently. She says she has a really good core group of mates that she never had before, and now she is making the most of it and going out with them. It feels a lot like she is prioritizing her friends over me and her daughter, which is bizarre. I think I need to remove myself from this mess. Hey mate, it's never easy having discussions like this, but for your own sanity, you need to talk. There is no reason to even mention whether or not she's cheating as it's irrelevant. It's about whether you want to move forward or not with who she is starting to reveal herself to be. I'd even start the conversation by asking how she thinks the engagement is going and, with her newfound friends, if she still feels the same. You don't need to be the one that breaks it off, if that's what you want, but you definitely need to let her know this isn't what you're looking for. So if friends are new, then she could have been sheltered, and that's why she seems out of control now. You mentioned drugs in the post. What drugs are we talking here? Your age difference is nothing. So yeah, if she's just found a bunch of new friends and hasn't experienced this before, that does explain the change. Appreciate your reply. Yours is one of the nicer comments rather than making assumptions. There have been some vile comments on here when I am really just asking for advice. I don't really have a lot of close mates as after school we all parted ways, hence why I posted here. We had a conversation this morning about things. I expressed my feelings and told her I feel uncomfortable about everything. She seemed to listen but is now very much so distancing herself from me. I asked her how she thinks the engagement is going, and she said it's fine. She did not talk about her new friend. Not once I brought it up and she said, "You're just rehashing old dramas. I cannot change the past, can I?" Not all of the friends are new. Some of them have been in the background the whole relationship but are now more prominent. The drugs I was referring to was cocaine. I agree. I think with the friends and the things she hasn't experienced does explain a lot about what has happened. I am just struggling with what to do now. I feel isolated in my relationship, as she does what she wants, and my feelings are invalidated. Last story. My husband being the victim of revenge porn has destroyed our marriage. Ever since this happened, I, 29 female, have been sick. My husband, 30 male, has recently become the victim of revenge porn, and it has completely shattered my world. Explicit images of him were sent to several of our family members, friends, and even some of his colleagues. At first, when I confronted him, he told me that the images were old, from before we had ever met, and that someone from his past must have had access to them. I wanted to believe him, but some of the photos were clearly taken in our flat. The flat we moved into together after getting married. There was no way they could have been from before we met. When I pressed him further, he finally admitted that the images were recent. He told me that he met a woman on an online dating app and that, after they exchanged photos, she began extorting him. He said he panicked and kept sending her money to stop her from sending the pictures to anyone we know. What I didn't know was that he had been taking the money from our shared savings account, the account we had been building together to put a down payment on a house. By the time I found out, he had already given her £5,500, essentially everything we had saved. Once he had nothing left to give, she followed through on her threat and released the images anyway. The fallout from this has been devastating. I'm not just grappling with the fact that my husband was on a dating app behind my back, exchanging intimate photos with another woman, but also that he drained our savings and left us with nothing. The police have told us that whoever extorted him is not even in this country, meaning there's little chance of getting justice or recovering the money. My husband swears that he never met anyone in person and insists he didn't physically cheat on me, but I don't know if that matters anymore. The betrayal still feels enormous. We have been married for 2 years and together for 4, and we were carefully saving every penny for a future together, a house, maybe a family. Now it's all gone. Nearly everyone we know has seen or heard about the photos. My husband is humiliated, and I am beyond ashamed. I don't even know how to look people in the eye. My confession is that I can't stay in this marriage after everything that's happened. I just had to tell someone because the weight of this is crushing me. It's his shame, not yours. Remember that. Agreed. Married or not, faithful or not, she shouldn't be doing anything but packing. He didn't cheat. He just sent explicit photos to somebody random on the internet. That's cheating in my opinion. Plus, giving away all y'all's savings instead of fessing up? Like you throw all our money away and the photos were released anyways. Ugh, I'm sorry you're being caught up in this. He has shown to be deceptive and dumb. Leave him. If we're polling, here's one for leave him and never look back. Because you used pounds, I assume you're in the UK. I'm pretty sure there are revenge porn laws there. Look into filing a police report for the photos and the blackmail. Then look into a divorce lawyer. He was cheating. Also, if you contributed to that fund, somebody owes you the money back. Her or him, doesn't matter, but get that money back. OP says the cops say the perp is in another country. From my own experience with UK cops, when someone did something illegal to me and then skipped the country, even if they have that person's home address, they're unwilling to do anything about it because of the paperwork, unless the crime is in the hundreds of thousands in damages. It's not revenge porn, it's extortion. It's literally crime organizations built around this process. They aren't real women. Most of these are set up in Asia, and this is what they do. Paying them is the worst thing you can do because they know you are an easy person to control. They will come back to him eventually asking for more. More threats. Countries can't do anything about it because all the crimes are from other countries. Think of this as the Indian scams for old people, where they tell them about banking errors and people send thousands to scammers just to find out the money is gone.